Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Champlin, for hosting. Thank you for this gorgeous view from across the river. We always like coming over here and seeing the promised land on the other side. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, thank you for hosting. This is a great facility. We've come over here with the kids, gotten the ice cream, done that whole thing. So it's a nice addition. And as was stated here, I think I've stated before, I appreciate the events like this where we can talk about and come up with different ideas, and whether it's other people building on things that our city's done with tree lightings, or us as building on something Coon Rapids did, I'll touch on here a little later. I think it's great that we all do that work together, because our people live in all of our communities. They don't just live in one, they go all over the place, and so it's great that we can all work together. So my name is Erik Skoquist. I'm a member of the Anoka City Council here. And first thing I'm going to do is just touch on a video here of Highway 10, and now if I can get it to play. Is it playing now? Maybe. There we go. So Highway 10 has been a project for 2 years now in the city of Anoka, and everything's done but some seeding and sodding and all that good stuff. But it has been a remarkably effective and positive project for the city and for the cities around us. This is just kind of a time lapse of the West Main roundabout there. And so you can see as it's gone through what it looks like. We've incorporated some of the red brick limestone look in the city of Anoka, but it's helped all of us just work smoothly between communities. And the other part that's really awesome that I think has happened through all of this is we came up with a different funding mechanism where the city of Anoka has always been said that we are the ball, and we don't want to be the ball, we want to be the bat in this scenario. And so we came up with funds and ideas to create this project, a project that we wanted, and now other cities like Ramsey have been replicating that, and it's just been super successful. So the Anoka phase, for the most part, is done, and now you can start throwing your profanities at the city of Ramsey the next 2 years instead of us. Just along with that, we've had some redevelopment along that same corridor. So if you think where Perkins Pizza Hut used to be, Taco Bell has rebuilt itself. There's a Silver Star Car Wash, as well as Jimmy John's and Baskin Robbins are also going to go in kind of at that apex where Perkins was prior. So nice to see some private development come along with the public infrastructure development. Also, Volunteers of America, we have a kind of a campus there, everything from nursing home, assisted living, memory care, independent living. And so there's a third phase that's happening as part of that for independent senior living. That's going to happen. There's 80 more affordable housing units. And so that just continues to add to the life cycle housing that exists, not only in the city, but in that general area. And it's been a very, very good success for the city of Anoka. Also, this is something I'll touch on, I talked about in Coon Rapids. We've started a program called the CARE program. It's basically a grant program where you can apply to the City of Anoka Housing and Redevelopment Authority, and you kind of get some seed grant money to do an outdoor project that's going to help with your curb appeal. So grants are between $1,000 and $5,000, and we've had nearly 50 homeowners utilize this, leveraging $750,000. So sometimes, you have these different ideas, loans, all this stuff, and sometimes just that little bit of money that they say, hey, look, I'm going to get some free money, really leverages it, and it works way more successfully than some of our other programs. So thank you to Coon Rapids, who helped us get this set up, and it's been a huge success. Another thing we had here is there was a public improvement over the year. We did some river dredging, and so long story short, any of you that are along the Rum River probably knew all the flooding that happened this spring, and then all of the erosion that created and dropping of sand and silt everywhere. And so we were no exception. That area south of the Rum River Dam to the mouth by the Mississippi River became a very nice shallow lake, is what it felt like, to be quite honest. So what we decided to do is we invested in getting some dredging, at least for the northern portion of that, where it was the worst of the worst, so people could get their boats up to the port of Anoka near our downtown. And so that was one of the projects we were able to get done this year. There's possibly going to be a phase 2 if you look at that blue dotted line. It's a little more complicated, a little more regulation, and wasn't quite as bad as the northern part. So we're going to keep working on that, seeing if we can come up with some funds and some ideas. And maybe it'll be a great year and it'll just flush all that sand out, but I'm not going to keep my fingers crossed. Speaking of the dam, many of your communities have also been aware and have been helpful with discussions with our Anoka Rum River Dam repair and safety improvement project. So we had one of the bonding committees out from the legislature looking at this project and saying, you know, our dam, it's not going anywhere, it's not falling down, but it's dated and it has some things that need upgrades. Mainly, our automated crest gates would be much nicer than getting guys out there with, you know, mini excavators and boards and waiting for the water level to be right and hope it's not too icy and all that. So that's a big safety improvement we're looking at. But as part of that, we're also looking at a maintenance platform, a walkway going across, if you think similar to probably the Coon Rapids Dam scenario. Also, maybe putting hydroelectric generation back to the dam that used to be there years ago, and possibly a lock or portage system for people to access the Mississippi from the upper Rum and vice versa, and even a fish passage to go so that ecosystem that's kind of been shut off for 150 years can continue. One other thing I'll mention too, if you look, this is just kind of a concept, and we got $500,000 worth of funds from the legislature to kind of create this study, see where some of the financing can come from, you know, what's feasible, what's not. Even on the left where there's possibly a fish passage, the concept of river surfing came up. And really what it is, if you've ever been out west or some places in Europe, they have this, and if the water conditions are right, it creates this permanent wave for people to just be able to surf in place. And so we kind of threw a lot of things in the hat and just said, all right, what's going to stick, what's not, and we'll find out. But this is a big project I know that's beneficial not just to the city of Anoka, but to the region as a whole. So if you got any sway with any legislative folks, it'd be nice to know, because we're trying to get some more funds for this and see this becomes a reality, hopefully. Another quick thing I touched on in the past, our law enforcement training center and animal containment facility has been up and running. So we have basically our own animal containment pound, if you'd say that, as well as a training facility with not only automated training options, but a shooting range as well. So I know some of your communities have kind of toured this and taken advantage of what we have, but if you're interested, talk to our police department. I know they'd love to give you a tour of what's there. And see if there's any way your community could utilize that asset as well that we've made. Getting into public improvements again, the bread and butter of what we do, streets, roads, pipes, all that good stuff. So it's not cheap, but it's what people expect of us. So last year we did kind of half the area by Franklin School. We're going to do the other half this year. And it's maybe not quite the $8 million number you were talking about, but for us, $3.63 million is pretty good chunk of change. And it's amazing, you look back 5 years, the same project would have been $1.5 million. So it's expensive, but it's what our citizens expect us to do, and we're going to keep at it. Another thing we did, we have a municipal golf course, Greenhaven. We always try to be efficient with our resources, and so in the winter time when people aren't golfing, what can you do? We put in something called the Cedars Disc Golf at Greenhaven, and what that is it's allowed people to go out there, do their rounds, and then also come in, warm up, have a beverage, have dinner, have a lunch, whatever. And it's been really successful. We've done that now for 2 winters, if you want to call this one a winter. But we've had last time we had 1,700 rounds, over 1,000 players, 4 tournaments with 300 people. So it's been really successful, and we're going to keep at it and just keep building on that. Another thing here we're going to do regarding the river, we have a Rum River stabilization project. If you go just north of the bridge here into Anoka, the Woodbury House historic building, but it's got some very steep banks, a lot of sand around here, and so we've had some issues with that. But we secured $1.1 million of clean water funds to go in along with the Conservation District to do some remediation work. So that's going to happen this summer, but just an FYI, they're going to have to build, I guess I'll call it sort of a land bridge across, and there'll be limited access north, probably during your business hours during the day. So that's going to start happening this summer. It will be able to, you know, in the evenings and weekends, hopefully we'll have that open, but that's going to be something you're going to see if you're a boater or somebody in the community. And last here, I just want to touch on our Anoka Social District. I know many of you have asked me about that. We did what this allows us to do is it allows us to have a particular zone. I'll show you a map here in the city of Anoka where we defined what's within that district, and people can take a beverage in a cup that's designated with certain things on the cup that the city provides. Within that zone, just kind of like a special event, but instead of a special event, it can happen all the time. So it was very successful for a month pilot in the fall. We're looking at doing it and expanding it here this year. Pretty much the whole patio season from May through early October, and maybe even expanding it. Looks like we're going to do south of Main Street a little bit, because we've had a lot of businesses that weren't bars and restaurants say, hey, I want people to stroll into my place too. So Gonna just kind of, we're taking baby steps with this to try to work out the kinks, but it's been pretty successful and we'll keep at it. But other than that, you know, we have lots of events and activities in the city and looking forward to seeing all of you at those at any given time, whether you're boating, you're walking, you're biking, you're taking your e-scooter, whatever. You know, Anoka's a fun place that likes to have a lot going on. So thank you again for just letting us be here, Champlin. Thank you, QCTV, for covering. And of course, thank you to the Chamber and your distinguished president for allowing us to be here today.